next hour, I want us now to jump into talking about lupus. Okay, this is Lupus Awareness Month, and with me here in studio, I'm honored to have a lupus warrior joining me. Her name is Faith Sanaya Kasirimo. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Now, of course, this being Lupus Awareness Month, it's a month set aside to create awareness about this, which is a disease that very few of us actually know or understand what it is about. And Faith is here to share her story living with the disease, what it is, and how people living with lupus can live their lives successfully and thrive in them as well. And so as we begin, maybe you can just explain to us, what is lupus?
Lupus is a genetic autoimmune disease that tends to attack the organs and tissues and joints in the body. It attacks in form of flares, and it's different. It varies from patient to patient. It's not the same with every person. And there are types of lupus. There is systemic lupus erythematosus, which I've been battling for over 18 years.
Wow.
There is discoid lupus. And there's lupus profundus, which is also like discoid lupus.
Okay.
Yeah.
When were you diagnosed with lupus?
In 2012.
Okay.
Yeah. But
You were-
that
you
was
were
like
still a
10
child?
years after I'd already started experiencing the symptoms.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in the 10 years when you started with the symptoms, you just didn't have an idea of what it was?
No, I was always in and out of hospital. They couldn't
Doctors-
exactly figure out. And okay, I had the craziest of things, from, you know, gonorrhea to whatever. And because now when you have lupus, it's
Your autoimmune is low,
your
right?
your immunity is hyperactive. So when your immunity is hyperactive, you tend not to get these small diseases.
Okay.
So every test would come out negative. Everything was showing normal, everything was negative. So they couldn't figure out what was exactly wrong. And at this time I was in Uganda, I was in the university. So when I came back home, you know, my joints were very swollen, they were numb, and they were always hot. It would be very difficult for me to even make it from my bed to the bathroom.
Wow.
So I had to come back home. I went for some tests at Aga Khan. And after a series of many tests, they were able to find that I had SLE. But I still didn't know what it was about.
Yeah.
The doctor told me, you actually don't have arthritis. You have something with, your joints are swelling because of something we call SLE.
Okay.
So I asked him, so I won't deform? Because now with arthritis, the joints tend to deform.
Sure.
So he told me, no, with SLE, they don't deform. So I was like, then I'm lucky enough. I would... My joints, I mean, I won't deform.
Yeah.
I wanted, you know, to remain beautiful and all that.
And you beautiful.
And
you
I
said
think
to
you're
me,
just
yeah.
looking at me like, poor girl. You don't know what you're in for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess one of the most challenging things about this disease is that there isn't really a known cure.
Yeah. I personally didn't know until now in 2013 when my heart failed. And that's when I actually got to know about lupus.
Wow.
Yes, I had to Google, and, you know, with all the crazy things that were going on in my life, you know, I had to find out, you know, what is this lupus?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You talked about your heart failing.
Yeah.
In 2013.
2013, yes.
So what happened? Are you able to now have that managed? Did you have to do surgery?
Yeah,
what happened
I was
with
treated. At first, okay, towards the end of 2012, because in the beginning of 2012, around February, that's when my joints started swelling. And then in the end of 2012, I started feeling, you know, this kind of abnormal fatigue all the way to 2013. Then towards the end of January, I had gone to a friend's place and I climbed a couple of stairs.
Okay.
So I felt some very painful pain on the left side of my chest. So after some time, I couldn't move from his house for like 3 days.
Wow.
So after those 3 days, luckily I was with a friend, and the guy is also like a family, he's a family friend. So they were able to take me home, where I went to the doctor, and I did not get the right diagnosis until May, when they discovered that it was my heart. But at this time I was in a very bad condition. I had to be taken to ICU.
Wow.
And it was really tough. Like
Wow.
between March and May, I had to survive on oxygen on oxygen masks. You know, my only worry would be breathing. Like I'd wake up in the morning, my sister would wake me up, take me from the bed, take me to the bathroom, take a shower. She'd put me on the seat because now I couldn't lie flat. I had to sleep in a sitting position. So it was really difficult for me to actually lie down.
Yeah.
She would put me on the couch, she'd go to school, then she'd leave my little nephew take care of me until she comes back from school.
Wow.
She was schooling at USIU. So
it's been a hard life.
Yeah, it's been hard. You know, just to be breathless and to be rushed.
Yeah.
You know, my life was full of ambulances and hospital and oxygen. It was not a pretty sight.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, we're very glad you're here today.
Thank you.
Oxygen free.
Yes. I'm breathing perfectly.
Yes,
thank
you
God.
are. Bless God for that. And considering then that there is no cure at the moment for this disease, so it's a lot of management, right? Isn't
Yes,
it?
yes.
Presumably then you're on a lot of different medications, and that must add up.
Yeah, because we have to be put on immunosuppressants to suppress our immunity.
From being hyperactive.
Yeah. And steroids, corticosteroids, and other meds like hydroxychloroquine sulfate, which, by the way, people have been buying from the stores, and they've really hiked the price, thinking that it's a cure for corona. But, you know, there are people actually who need
depend on
that hydroxychloroquine sulfate.
Yeah.
And their life depends on it.
Yeah.
So if anyone out there
you can tell them right on this camera.
Yeah, if anyone out there, you have the
this one here.
hydroxychloroquine sulfate.
Yeah.
We kindly ask you to donate it to those who really need it. The lupus warriors all around Kenya.
How much is the price? How much was it and how much is it now?
Personally, I don't use it because I react to sulfur.
Okay.
But our meds are quite expensive.
They're quite expensive.
All of them are quite expensive.
And you can then imagine, because I don't know what the population of people living with lupus is here in this country, or the number of warriors that we have, but presumably, because this is not anything that chooses, you know, based on gender, or I think maybe women are more predisposed, but certainly not by
it
race
affects more women.
class,
like 70% of those battling lupus are women. Yeah, 30%
and presumably
are men.
there are many women then in low-income areas of this country who are suffering from lupus and are not able to access the treatment.
Actually, okay, most people have no idea about lupus, like we mentioned earlier, including doctors. So the people I'd tell, even including doctors, I'd tell them I have SLE, and they'd be like, "What is that?" Like there's a time when I had a lump in my breast, and I had surgery, but then the lump reoccurred. So I went to a certain clinic next to my home, my parents' home, and so when I went to the hospital, and I was telling the doctor and the nurses that I had lupus, and it had caused the breast, and they could not believe me. They were convinced that I have a baby, which I have never given birth to date. And so they were like, if a lump appears if it happens to be in your breast, then you must have breastfed. And I was trying to tell them, I've never breastfed. It's just like connective tissue disease, which could be lupus, or it could be a side effect of the meds I've been taking. Yeah.
So there's a lot of ignorance too then.
Yes.
And lack of awareness concerning this disease.
Yes.
Are there sort of any concerted efforts that you're seeing in this country that you really salute and applaud what they're doing? Is the government doing enough for it? Or what would you like to see?
The government has not really prioritized lupus. And that's why we've been having this awareness thing, so that the government can at least, acknowledge lupus as a disability. Because with lupus, you're not able to work like a normal person. Actually, it's an abnormality of the immunity. It's only that it's an invisible abnormality. It's not like being blind or being deaf. But it can drive you crazy. It can put you down. Like for years, I've not been able to work. I had to close down my business. It took me 4 years to graduate. And there's so many other people out there, because, they're suffering every day of their lives. They can't work. Even at times getting up just to take a shower is a challenge enough. So there are times when the body just wants to rest. And when it's cold, we can't walk. We can't walk out in the cold. And we can't also walk out in the sun because we get burnt by the sun. We have to use our sunscreen like 50+, wear a hat or take an umbrella perhaps.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So considering all of these different challenges, this deficit of information, as we're saying, this being Lupus Awareness Month, what are some of the highlights of the campaign, the awareness campaign that you guys are now doing?
Nowadays, when I enter into social media, I see a lot of purple around. Lupus, everyone is creating awareness. My friends have been of great support in creating awareness. We have a group, a foundation. It's a non-profit organization called Scaled, and there is Lupus Foundation Africa. We had Lupus Foundation of Kenya, but it didn't go down so well. And then there are many other groups coming together. And as you see, like, you know, we have T-shirts. T-shirts and masks. Actually, you can have one.
Thank you.
Which color do you prefer?
I think I'm gonna go with the gray.
Okay.
Yeah. Let me hold it up for guys.
Oh yeah.
This is it.
So wearing
beautiful.
one.
Yeah. And the front says
Scarlet.
Scarlet. That's the organization.
Yes. And we also have masks.
The
mask is right here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can show that. You can. Oh, there we go. Okay.
Yes,
so here's the back of the shirt. It says "No More."
Yeah.
Right.
No more. Yeah.
Yeah. To know more about it.
Yeah.
And let me see them. You can hold
people.
up the mask actually on this camera.
Okay. It's
beautiful.
Right here.
And purple is the color.
Yeah, purple is the color.
I love how even your lipstick matches it.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
And so using the sales of these T-shirts by a lady called Anne, she's a nurse in the US.
Yeah.
She's the founder of this group.
Okay.
So she started raising awareness by using these T-shirts. At the same time, by selling these T-shirts, we raise money to buy meds and to pay even for doctor's appointments.
Yeah.
Because, you know, the doctor's appointments are very expensive. For my doctor, I have to pay like 5K every appointment. Yeah. And the others will charge between 4,000 to 5,000. For my cardiologist, I have to pay like 7,000. No insurance company wants to cover someone with lupus unless you're employed. Yeah.
Wow.
Like personally, I was dropped by the insurance company that I had taken a cover with. After finding out I had lupus, like they refused to renew my cover.
Is that allowed? I thought you...
No, I didn't sue. I left it all to God, because you know what? You don't buy disease from a shop.
That's right.
And the same person who's denying you that cover is a human being just like you.
Yeah.
Probably they are well today, but they don't know what will happen to them tomorrow, or their children.
Yeah.
And they will feel what some of us are feeling, to be denied such things like, you know, basic right to treatment. Yeah.
So there's definitely a lot of policy issues around this too.
Yes, very, and that's
just
why
even access to treatment, access to some sort of copay, it will go a long way in helping out.
True.
Especially to those who are living in low-income areas. You can imagine what they're going through. Their communities don't understand it, right? If it took your doctors so long to just figure out that
I was being treated in the best hospitals in Nairobi, like the likes of Aga Khan, Mater Hospital at Nairobi West. But for me to actually find out that I had lupus, it had to take the swelling of my joints, which in Uganda it was also very rare. And that's when they were telling me, you know, it could be, my joints could be swelling as a result of gonorrhea or witchcraft or something.
Wow.
And I had to come home to seek, you know, better treatment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I mean, I feel like you embody your name, Faith.
Yes.
In many ways, like, you have really had to employ faith.
Yeah. It's taken a lot of faith.
Just tell me about that strength and where you draw that from.
Okay. It's actually a difficult story, a bit emotional. And okay, so in the beginning, like I told you, I did not know much about lupus. And when my heart failed, you know, my lungs would fill with fluid, and I had to use the masks. So at some point I was admitted, you know, after a series of going from hospital to hospital, I went to Nairobi West and they tested me for TB. So when I was going back after 3 days to get my results, I met a doctor, a young doctor. So he asked me, here where you've indicated that you have arthritis as your I'd written arthritis and in brackets SLE. So he told me, so you have SLE? I told him yes. He told me, stop going to different doctors, because I'd been going to different doctors for like 3 months, not knowing what was really going on, because I'd lost weight. My hair was falling off. You know, I was so thin that, you know, I think the wind would just easily blow me away. So I went now to Aga Khan, I went back to see the doctor that I was supposed to see, a rheumatologist. And I was admitted. Before I saw the doctor, they had to remove the fluid from my lungs. And then after that, I felt better. I went back to Uganda to clear, because I needed to graduate in the November of the same year. So it was really difficult. I kept getting worse. And on my way back, my friend who had booked a ticket for me, had sent a friend to book a ticket for me, did not tell them that I was sick. So getting to the airport, they refused to fly me. Yeah. So I was pleading with them, and at the moment I could not walk.
Wow.
Like my body could not even digest anything. Like if I took water, it came out as water. If I took Lucozade, it came out as Lucozade. If I took Ribena, same thing.
Why
if I
would
took
they refuse
fruits,
to fly you?
see the way you can chew fruits?
Yeah.
When I throw up, they come out in, like, you know, the same way that they were on my bowl. Yeah. If it's a banana, it will go back to being a full banana, a full apple. Yeah, the same way.
Why were they refusing to fly
They
you?
thought I was going to die on their flight. And I was like, I can't die in an hour's flight. Just let me go home. I really need to go home. Because at that time, I felt like I had less than a week to live. And I told my friends I need to go home. Yeah. And so I pleaded with them. They refused. And then luckily, I went to Air Uganda, and they actually accepted to fly me. And I had to produce my documents. As for this, am I allowed to mention?
To mention?
The airline.
Let's not.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they had told me to go back, book an appointment with their doctor. Then after booking an appointment with their doctor, he was to run some tests and then clear me for travel, which would have taken me, because now going back, I need another 2 days to rest. Then go to the doctor, then take another 2 days to rest, and then I'll fly back. I would not have made it in time, because now the same, when I flew back, that was on Tuesday. On Friday, I was in ICU. So I didn't have that much time. Yeah. And okay, we've also faced things like rejection, just like they did. And the person that I was actually seated next to, now on this other flight that had accepted to fly me, person I was seated next to, after seeing me, you know, he asked if he could switch seats. I looked terrible. I wouldn't blame him though. I would have done the same probably if I didn't know.
Wow.
He thought I was contagious.
Yeah.
Which part of the awareness is the fact that, you know, we need to be accepted. We need people to understand. And we need people to treat us like we are not contagious, because lupus is not contagious.
Absolutely.
And it's not HIV.
Yeah.
Because people mistake it for HIV.
Sure.
People mistake it for other things, which it's not.
Faith, I really want to thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And just for sharing your story. You're a very brave, very courageous woman.
Thank you.
And my personal prayer for you, and I will continue to do so, is just that God would touch and heal your body. And that you'd continue to be a light until there's so many that are looking up to you and just following your journey. And I don't know if you want people to follow you on social media. They can keep up with the awareness campaign and even your own journey, maybe support you as well. How do they find you?
On Instagram, I go by the name Sanaya K, Sanaya_K. Facebook, Sanaya Kasirimo. And on just those two.
Okay.
I forgot my Twitter password.
No, no worries.
Brain fog comes with a package.
No worries.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. Guys, please do follow Clad, is that how you
Sanaya.
Sanaya.
Sanaya K.
No. And the organization as well.
Oh, Clad, yes.
Clad, yes, as well. And just, you know, to challenge your mind, do some research and understand what this is. Let's treat people with love, care, and compassion. Absolutely important. We need to take a break, though, as our time runs out. Coming up next, we're going to be bringing you our DIY segment. Stay tuned. This is Full Circle with Joyce.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.